Good morning, guys. So today is a interesting day of what I'm feeling. I'm feeling what I can only describe as sitting less in my grace. There's no particular emotion attached to it, or at least the common emotions that we can kind of work with. So it's just kind of like this blah. And so the first thing is that before we want to go and kind of nitpick into it and see, okay, what is this about? We just want to feel this emotion. We want to welcome this emotion. Rumi the Great Poet says that your emotions are guests, and they come to visit and they come to give you a message, and then they leave after if we listen to that message. So welcome them, have tea with them, and understand what it's about. And so before we kind of jump into, okay, like what is this about, you just want to like make them feel welcome in your house, right? So someone comes over, like, how are you feeling, how are you doing? And so I welcome this feeling of blah or not feeling in my grace today. And it's just this kind of subtle kind of energy sitting in me, and I just had, just spent some time with it. So just kind of allowed it to embody in me fully and just kind of fully feel it wherever it is. So it's kind of around here, so it's up here and here, and just kind of like, okay, all right, so you're here, okay, all right, we can have a chat when you're ready. And this is the art of how to be ugly. Like, I find we have so much information about how to be graceful or how to be beautiful in different ways, and no one's taught us at all how to be with those ugly parts as well. And ugly is a strong word, but yeah, so some of those distasteful places within us maybe. So now that I've welcomed it and that it feels welcome, that it feels safe, I go into it deeper, and I'm going to chat with it and see what it has to say, like without me kind of using my logical forefront mind and being like, okay, it's this. No, it's going to come from a heart space. So these emotions are going to talk to me from that space, and when I connect with them from my heart, which is where I'm truly genuinely welcoming them and allowing them to feel settled in me and safe in me, this is when they start to express. So what's come up for me is a couple of things that I would have loved to manage a different way showed up, and then I see kind of behind that where that came from. And so just giving love to that place and understanding that that's coming from pain or wherever be. And also a lack of something. So there's a presence of lack of something, and so that's where I'm feeling a little bit of this kind of lack in grace, and that is actually a lack of what I've needed to do for myself. This time gets really hectic with seeing patients, and it gets really kind of tight with my boundaries of how many I would like to see and how much time I then need to spend with myself. And so I'm constantly having to reinforce those boundaries day to day. And I let that boundary slide a couple of times so I can see how that then has a cascade effect. So coming back up, and then like, all right, so let's pick up again, and let's go from there. A little bit of also, there is that, there's a huge kind of collective, I guess, end of year, what should we call it, energy, and it weighs heavy. It weighs really heavy, and it's something that I'm working out of, which is where, what is it about? Like, what is this sadness about? This year has been phenomenal for me. It's one of the years that's topped off any of the other years. And then what is this particular thing telling me, and how can I take that information and then use that as a seed to sow and then reap in the next year? So those are some things that have come up for me as well, and I just wanted to put this out there because we don't want to shun, we don't want to shame, we don't want to feel guilty for having less light as well. Like, you're not God, you're a human. You're going to have this human experience of going up and down, up and down. So this is where sometimes there's light and sometimes there's darkness. And we get really scared and terrified when the darkness starts to show itself, but the darkness literally is an absence of light. And this is where you realize, okay, so this is where I need to turn the light on, and this is how I need to turn the light on over here. And so that is how then you start to go deeper within yourselves to parts that have been dark for a long time or are repetitively getting dark, and now you know, okay, what the deeper message is and how to work with that. And so then you grow into more and more and more light. And it's not that your eternal state should be light. So we really are yin and yang. So we're mixed energies. And I house myself in that. So I embody and love myself for both those parts, so for light and the dark, because they're there to work with each other. So my mentor gave me a great example, and I asked, is it a continual struggle for us to always come back to light, to goodness and kindness and all of that? And that is the struggle for humans. And the way you explain it is like, imagine like you have two rocks and you're trying to generate light. You need two things opposing to kind of rub against each other for light to spark. And that made a lot of sense for me, because a lot of negatives will fuel your positive, right? So if you're on that path, that negative will catalyst you into your best self. And I've seen this throughout my life. It will turn, and if you're someone who understands how to alchemize it, someone who understands how to work with your deeper, darker parts, then you can grow as a result of it rather than being stuck in it. I'm gonna end this over here. I hope this reaches those of you who it's meant for, and have a lovely rest of the day. Bye.